In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a concrete countertop. I'm going to show you the entire process and give you tips along the way to help you avoid making the more common mistakes that I see people making. And I made this for my bathroom vanity that I made out of reclaimed barn lumber. So if you want to see that video, you can click the link below. And to see more videos like this and detailed tutorials covering all aspects of home renovation and construction, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. I'll be cutting down a melamine shelf board to make the form. I cut the board to the exact size that I want my top to be, and I got that by adding 2 inches to both the length and the width of my vanity. That way I'll have a 1-inch overhang all the way around. I'm making my top 2 inches thick, so I'll add on the thickness of the boards, which is 3/4, to get the width that I need to rip the boards. So that's 2 3/4 inch strips that I need. I leave some boards long to make it easy to remove the boards once the concrete is dried. One of the problems I hear people mention a lot is how hard it can be to caulk the inside of this form. And every little imperfection shows in the concrete, and you'd be surprised how detailed this concrete can be after it dries. I learned the first time I made the concrete top just how much shows if you don't get your caulk perfect. So I pre-tape all of my boards before I put them together. And I know it sounds like overkill, but I promise you, unless you're really good at caulking, it is much easier to get a perfect caulk line. I clean the boards with alcohol, and then I'll tape a line about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Then you can use a square to lightly cut the tape without scratching the board. Attach the board with screws to make it easy to remove, and be sure to pre-drill the holes so you don't have any wood splitting or bumps that leave marks in your concrete. To make the cutouts I need, I'll be using PVC pipe. Then I'll use a few screws in the form to hold it in place, and I'll put a little silicone around the bottom. And this doesn't have to be perfect because the sink will hide any imperfections. Remove any of the excess concrete you have by sliding a board across the top in a saw motion. And once your concrete is more or less flat to the top, you'll need to get all of the trapped air out. You can do this by lightly tapping the edges and the bottom with a hammer, and you'll probably have to do this for 10 or 20 minutes until you don't see any more air bubbles coming through. Add reinforcers to your concrete. For this project, the span's not too big. It's not that big of a piece, so just about any reinforcement will work. You can use mesh or rebar. Just make sure that it's made to reinforce concrete. Remove any of the excess concrete you have by sliding a board across the top in a saw motion. And once your concrete is more or less flat to the top, you'll need to get all of the trapped air out. You can do this by lightly tapping the edges and the bottom with a hammer, and you'll probably have to do this for 10 or 20 minutes until you don't see any more air bubbles coming through. You can also use something to vibrate the edges to help speed the process. I'm using a Walmart palm sander that vibrates a ton, and this sander is much better at removing air from concrete than it is sanding. Allow the concrete to dry a few days before removing the form. I'd recommend having someone help you flip it. It is very heavy, and I came pretty close to smashing my fingers. I run the sander over with a worn 120 grit sandpaper to expose any of the pinholes before I start to fill them with my slurry mix. You can buy a concrete patch to make it easier, but I just like using what I have around, so I'm using some of the concrete and I'm filtering out the aggregate, and then I'm going to add some white Portland cement and mix it with a polymer additive instead of water to give it a little more strength and to help it bond. Wipe down the top with a damp sponge before you add the slurry. This keeps the porous concrete from immediately sucking the moisture out of the slurry and making it less effective at filling the pinholes. There's a lot of different finishes and sealers you can use for concrete. I'm using a combination of both a penetrating impregnator sealer and a high gloss sealer. The penetrating sealer will help maintain the color of the concrete without darkening it too much, and then I'll add the high gloss sealer to give it the shine that I want. If I only use the high gloss sealer, it will darken it more than I want. I'll apply a couple of coats of the high gloss sealer, making sure to let it dry in between coats, and then once it's dry, it's done and ready to be placed on top of the vanity. Before I attach the plumbing to the sink, I'll add a couple drops of adhesive like liquid nails on top of each post, and that just helps secure the concrete to the vanity, prevents any shifting. If this video helped you and you want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.